I sat on the couch, the glow of the television casting faint shadows across the room. My eyes were fixed on the window, watching as Steve disappeared into Alice's house. 1,000 thoughts swirled through my mind, each more unsettling than the last. Was I imagining things? Or was there a deeper reason behind Steve's sudden willingness to help our neighbor? I couldn't shake the image of him putting on his shirt in a rush, a glint of enthusiasm in his eyes that I hadn't seen in months. The questions weighed heavy on me, and I knew I couldn't sit idly by any longer. The nagging feeling in my chest demanded action, even if part of me was terrified of what I might uncover. The next morning, I found Alice tending to her garden. The auburn-haired woman looked up as I approached, her face lighting up with a smile. "Good morning." Alice greeted cheerfully, wiping her hands on her jeans. "Good morning," I replied, my tone carefully casual. I hesitated for a moment before adding, "Was Steve able to help out yesterday?" Alice glanced at me, her expression unreadable. "Oh, yes. Steve was kind enough to fix it perfectly," she said, her voice carrying an air of nonchalance. "You're lucky to have such a good husband." The words hit me like a punch to the gut, but I maintained my composure, forcing a smile. "That's good to hear," I said lightly, though my heart raced. Alice seemed to study me for a moment, then nodded. If only more men were as thoughtful as Steve. I managed a polite laugh, exchanging a few more pleasantries before excusing myself. As I walked away, my mind was racing. I felt as though Alice's words carried a subtle weight, a meaning that lingered just beneath the surface. Was I imagining it? Or was there something Alice wasn't saying outright? Back in the safety of my home, my resolve hardened. I couldn't ignore the feeling any longer. If Steve wasn't going to be honest with me, I would have to find the truth on my own. My first step was subtle observation. I started paying closer attention to Steve's habits, noting the times he left the house and the excuses he gave. I became more attuned to the shifts in his demeanor, the small tells that might reveal what he was hiding. I also began to keep an eye on Alice. Every interaction, every smile, every glance felt like a puzzle piece waiting to be placed. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I knew the answer was out there, hidden in the spaces between their words and actions. The hardest part was maintaining my composure around Steve. Each evening, as we sat together in the living room, I acted as though nothing had changed. But inside, I was a storm of emotions, anger, sadness, fear, and, most of all, determination. One night, as Steve scrolled through his phone with an intensity that had become all too familiar, I casually mentioned our cancelled holiday plans. "I was really looking forward to the getaway this year," I said, my voice light. Steve glanced up, a flicker of guilt crossing his face. "I know. I'm sorry. Work's just been overwhelming lately." I nodded, feigning understanding. "I guess there's always next year." But as I said the words, I knew I wouldn't wait that long for answers. I had already begun laying the groundwork for my plan, and it was only a matter of time before I found what I was looking for.